Okay. Okay. Hey, we're live. Hi, everybody. How's it going? How you doing? It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce, and I thought I'd travel with you right now through my kitchen. I'm gonna take you for a little walk. Welcome everybody to the program. Here's our view from Rancho Mirage, California. It's what time is it now? 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The shadows are getting long right now, and we will be dark in about an hour from now. This beautiful sunny scene will quickly fade away. We have a gentleman over here that you may or may not see. He's right over there. He's working his way out of the bunker right now. Here he goes. He's trying to chip out of there and get out of the sand trap onto the green here. Let's see if he gets up. There he goes. There's the ball. He's up. Yep. He got onto the green. It took him a couple of shots, but looks like he's golfing all by himself, which means he can take all the time he wants. No one is going to bother him, and it's all good. We're here Jen and I are in Rancho Mirage, California, and you can see our little view from here, our neighbors just to our side. Gorgeous, sunny, clear blue skies. My camera's desperately trying to adjust to the colors and to the exposure. Don't mind me as I move around over here now. The gentleman now is coming in for his. I wish I could zoom this, but I can't. But he's coming now into. If I get out of the picture, you can see him. There he is. He's walking towards his golf ball. There he is, right there, and he's got his putter. There he is. He's lining up. He's going to line up his putt. First, going to get the sand off the golf ball. And what's he doing now? I don't quite know. He's studying the line. Look at that. He's studying the line like a pro does, and figuring out if the ball's going to break left to right, and he's going to put his ball in here. And it's 70. We got to 73 today. Normally at this time of the year, we're at 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Normally just 60 degrees, but we are in the mid 70s now. This will change. Here goes the putt, by the way. He's lined it up. There he's practice putt. Oh no, he putted it, and did he? No, he missed it. He went behind it to pick it up. Poor guy. Yeah, we're about 72 to 74 right now for the highs. We're not complaining, I'll tell you that. It's been a wonderful few days. Let me get myself here behind the camera. Here we go. There we are. There you go. I hope you don't mind the view behind me. I hope it's not too obnoxious for you. But we landed on New Year's Day here in Palm Springs at the Palm Springs International Airport, and we had a smooth flight all the way down, and took about 3 hours. We were about an hour late leaving, but we did actually. We probably came in about 2 hours and 40 minutes because we made up some time, but it didn't matter for us. And I think everyone on the plane. No one on the plane was connecting anywhere, I don't think. I think this is our final destination. Had an interesting chat with a flight attendant on board our flight. Apparently, what had happened was we were late getting on the plane because the flight crew was short one flight attendant. And I guess New Year's Eve claimed a victim. And so they put in a call for an emergency fill for a crew member. And about half an hour after we were supposed to get on the plane, here comes a flight attendant coming down the gateway and pulling a little bag and then another bag. And I'm looking at this guy going, is this a pilot? Because normally the pilots have a couple of bags. No, this is a flight attendant, but this flight attendant is on standby and does not know where he's going. He has no idea where his next flight is. As soon as there's an opening, they send him to gate number whatever and get on this airplane. Well, he's going to Palm Springs, so he had to clear customs through Homeland Security because you do that in Calgary. So he came all the way down and got on the plane, and I ended up talking to him on the aircraft. It was fascinating because he told me that there were a total of 5 flight attendants at the airport at all times, and that he could be assigned to Paris, to London, to Vancouver, Toronto, Edmonton, anywhere. He has no idea where he's going. So I asked him today, what happens now? You're going to be in Palm Springs, California. What happens to you now? He says, well, I'll be returning back to Calgary with this exact flight crew because this plane is just doing a turnaround. We're going to drop you guys off in Palm Springs, clean out the plane, bring on a new load of passengers, take off to Calgary. And he said, that'll be the end of my day. I'll have done 6 hours of flight time, 2 flights. I got a full day. And there you go. And so he's on these standby rotations. And I said, so I take it you have had a scenario where you've been told, go to gate 6, you're going to Europe? He said, oh, yeah. He said, those are usually 3-day events. They can be 3 days. So I have to have enough clothing, underwear, my toothpaste, whatever I want to bring with me for at least 3 days. And it can be that I spend the night in London, for example, and then the next day they just fly me back on a flight as a passenger, or they have me work as a crew member on a flight back to Calgary. It's all varies. I might fly to Toronto. I might fly to Vancouver. I don't know where I'm going, but that's part of the gig. You get more money for that because of the uncertainty of it all. And he loves his job. He loves doing what he's doing. So I found that to be an interesting little chat on our way down on Wednesday the 1st last week, and it's been a wonderful time. We got our condo here. We're on the golf course, and we also got us I've rented a Tesla to drive, so I'm driving another Tesla this year. It's interesting because 3 years ago, when we came down here in 2021, we rented a Tesla for about 4 months from a gentleman. At that time, you couldn't rent a Tesla from a car rental company. They didn't have them at that time, not in 21. It was about 22 they started renting them. But at that time, we were paying $85 a day to rent a Tesla, rather expensive. And then the next year, it was about $75 a day. Last year, it got down to about $49, $48 a day. And this time around, I'm renting a small, the small car, the Model 3, the 4-door car, $35 a day this year. And I'll have this car for about 2.5 weeks because the renter of this vehicle has a second Tesla that's known as the Model X. Now that's the Tesla, that's an SUV. It's their big one. It has those gull wing doors, if you recall. I'll be renting a Model X in about 10 days from now, 11 days from now. And we agreed that it would be $42 a day until the end of May for that vehicle. So we're upgrading to a higher vehicle, bigger, a Tesla Model X. I'm rather looking forward to that. I've not been in a Model X yet. So I'm kind of curious what that one's going to be like. So yeah, splurging a little bit, having some fun. But it is cheaper than last year, cheaper than the year before, cheaper than the year before on the car side. And so I'm going to drive a Tesla down here. Why not? It's all good. We're doing well. Jen and I are happy here. It's just been a wonderful 4 or 5 days already, and it's all good. I hope all is well with you wherever you are, and hope you all had a very good New Year's. Thank you, Sharon, for popping in here. Nice to see you here. We rang in the New Year in Bermuda, watching the onion drop at midnight. So much fun. Robert is in the house. Thank you. And Kirk Brunson is here. Welcome, Kirk. He's working today. Stephen Butler is in the house. It snowed in New York today, says Kirk. I heard. I've seen Washington too got hit. Miss M is in the house. Welcome all of you. Kevin Chapman, the author himself, is here. Greetings, Bruce. Thumbs up number 11 tonight. Snow on the ground, fire in the hearth, and Bruce on YouTube. I mean, what more do you want? There you go. You're all set. Fantastic. Thank you, Robert, for letting me know about the gold bagel logo. I keep forgetting this this switch. Let me pop that. There it is. I got the proper logo up on my thing. And Kirk Brunson, looks like I'll be doing a back-to-back on the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise during my vacation in February. I have to travel when Samuel is out of school, so President's Week, so you'll be doing that trip right there. I hope it works out. I hope you enjoy it, and you deserve every vacation day you can get your hands on. You probably noticed the darkness starting to seep in here. Let me show you again what it looks like outside here. I'll show you the golf course. You look at now, the sun is almost gone. The entire green that I was showing you earlier is now all in shadow because the sun's angle is so low. And way out there, a couple of cars are coming up and down the other side of the wash, the other end of the property. The sun is shining on some of those condos way out there, but all around us here, even my neighbors, they were all in bright sunshine. You can see, I don't know if you can see the mountains of the background back there. You probably can't. Probably not going to get that good of a view. There's a little bit of sunshine left on them, as you might be able to see that through there. There's sunshine way over there, about 10 miles away. But here, right in this area here, the sun is quickly fading. And that gentleman is now putting a couple of holes away from us. And soon he will be returning to the clubhouse because it's going to get dark. It gets dark awful fast down here. Anyway, that is the situation here in Rancho Mirage. Our sunsets are about, they officially say 4:25 or 4:29 in the afternoon is the official sunset time. Our days are getting longer. By the end of this month, we'll be at about 5:15 or 5:20. And then in February, we'll be approaching almost 6 o'clock sunset. And then March, we shift the clocks and we move forward. So not complaining. The shortness of days doesn't bother me. The warm temperatures work out for us. In Calgary today, around 30 degrees. They were at 10 degrees Fahrenheit the last few days, but they've warmed back up to the freezing mark, and so it's not quite so bad. Welcome all of you to the show. Thank you for these thumbs ups if you're able to find them. Appreciate that. I got a poll question today for you if you want to participate in it. Some of you have found it already. My favorite cruise was, and I put up here a Caribbean cruise, an Alaska cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, or Hawaii/Asia cruise. So far, looks like 62% of the voters are saying Caribbean cruise was my favorite cruise, and 38% are saying Mediterranean cruise was our favorite. If you're watching live, or if you're given the opportunity on the rerun to be able to answer the poll question, please go ahead and fire away. Would be great. Thank you everyone for popping in so far, and thank you for the thumbs ups already. Appreciate that too. Cruise news, a little bit that I noticed. Boy, I talk about the media having nothing to talk about. It's there's article after article all about the gastronomical, what do we call that? The norovirus, the poop and scoop one. Apparently, for 2024, they set the highest amount or the highest number of cases of norovirus in 1 year, dating back 12 years. It's the worst year in 12 years. You gotta ask yourself, what is not happening on these cruise ships? Like, what aren't they doing for this to be such a problem? I think 16 ships or 16 cruises were affected last year. It's still a very small percentage of all the 37 million cruisers that are taking cruises. No question about that. But boy, you got to wonder, geez, how is it that this is getting a worse of a problem? You'd figure by now in 2025 that with all the cleaning agents available, all the training available, all the experience that these cruise lines have with keeping their ships in tip-top condition, you'd wonder, right? I will, though, admit this. I will say this. When Jennifer and I were on the Queen Mary 2 this past summer. We did 3 cruises on that ship from August into September and October. And the middle cruise, which was the Scottish Isle cruise that we took around the United Kingdom, that ship was definitely populated by a very high number of senior citizens. I can tell you right now, if you're 25 years old, 30 years old, and you're looking for action, you do not take a Scottish Isle cruise. This is not going to work for you. But if you're, in your 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, and especially if you are dealing with a grandparent that maybe their parents immigrated to America from Scotland, they're going to want to take this cruise for obvious reasons. It's such an emotional cruise. There's real emotion on this cruise. It really is. It's wonderful to witness people really be emotional about these itineraries that they go to. It's subtle, but it's there. Anyway, the point I was going to make was I was noticing and witnessing how many older people were on the ship, and no question, I can understand so easily how the norovirus can spread on a ship like this, because in the hallways, you've got handrails on both sides of all the hallways. You've got the handrails in the staircases. You got all the buttons on the elevator. You have to have staff literally wiping the buttons and the banisters 24/7 to stop this, and even that won't do it, because people touch walls. They open door handles to get outside onto the promenade deck. They move their lounge chairs with their hands. I mean, to spread this disease or this virus is so easy. And when you have between 2,800 passengers and at least 1,200 crew, 4,000 people on a ship, 24/7, it's impossible for the virus not to spread. If someone has it, they're going to spread it. And so it's just a matter of time. And the real question is not if anyone has the virus or not. I will bet you that on any cruise ship at any time with 5,000 people on board or more, someone has the poops and scoops. Someone's got the scoots going, and it's not bad enough to go to the doctor, but they've got it, and they're spreading it whether they like it or not. No matter how much you wash your hands or whatever, it's almost impossible. Anyway, it's out there. The question really is not if anyone has the virus when you're on board a cruise ship, because the virus lives in our hometowns. It's here in Rancho Mirage. It's in Palm Desert. It's in Los Angeles. It's in your hometown. Doesn't matter where we are. This virus is everywhere. It's a question of how badly does it spread. And on a cruise ship, the question is, does it get up to 100 people, 200 people by the time the cruise ends? And then the next group of people come on board. None of them have it, or 1 or 2 have it. And by the end of that week, or 10 days or 14 days, how many more people have it? You gotta wonder. Anyway, that story, the norovirus story, was all over Google search today. If you did any searching on cruise ship news or anything like that, it's making all kinds of videos on YouTube. And I'm just tired of talking about it. I just don't want to mention it all the time, but it's an issue, no doubt about that. Anyway, there it is. Welcome all to the program too. Nice to have you here. Jeff Dinan in the house, I believe, from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome, sir. Steve R. Hello, Bruce. Donnell from Ireland is here. How you doing, buddy, from Cork? Hi, Bruce and Jen and all TWB fans. I'm glad to see you're enjoying being in your second home, Palm Springs. Winter has just hit us big time in Ireland. It was like Siberia here today. Oh, my God. Well, I know that in the USA today, in the sort of Midwestern states, all the way to the East Coast, Washington, New York, they're getting hit big time. And now there's talk of blizzard conditions in Eastern Canada as well. So there's all kinds of issues going on over there. So we here, very blessed, Jen and I. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
How are you? She's just walking through the kitchen.
Looking for chocolate.
She's looking for chocolate. We're all good here. I got my ice cream from Costco. It's all good.
I got my chocolate here.
She's got her chocolate right there.
Oh, see.
It's filled with
see,
chocolate filled with mousse.
Yeah.
It's pretty yummy.
dark chocolate mousse inside. Lint.
From Switzerland, you know. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Jen is a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Frustrated.
She's frustrated, but she's also concerned about her Steelers. She's very concerned about her Pittsburgh Steelers. They've lost 4 straight games going into the playoffs. They're in the playoffs, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look
Doesn't
rosy.
feel good, does it? No.
She doesn't have that warm, fuzzy feeling about the
We're playing
boys
the dreaded Ravens
in
in
Baltimore.
Baltimore
She's not happy
with
about
King
this.
Henry.
Yeah, she's a bit concerned about the game.
Lamar, the quarterback who's up for MVP of the year.
Is the game Saturday or Sunday?
I think we play Saturday. I'm not sure why. We played Saturday last week, so I'm assuming we play the first game.
We're going to
this
see what
week, too.
happens here. Hi.
You know.
I don't.
So think good black and gold thoughts.
There you go, everybody. Think black and gold thoughts for Jen. Wish her nothing but the best. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll pass them on to Jen and her boys in Steeltown. Hope for the best. You know what I wanted to talk to you about today? I've never done this before. I was thinking today what my topic of the day would be while I'm hanging out with you wonderful people with this channel of mine. And I thought, let's compare a cruise to a vacation like Jen and I are taking here. And I thought, hard to do in a way because a lot of cruises are a week long or 10 days long. And we're here for 5 months. I mean, that's not a fair comparison in that regard. But I thought, why don't we break down a 1 month segment of time and try to figure out, what's one versus the other like, Now, the thing about being here in Rancho Mirage, Palm Springs, and Palm Desert, California, this whole region here, is that you can drive here if you're from North America. Now, if you're living in Maine, it's an awful long way to drive all the way down here. If you're living in Chicago, maybe it's a 1 or 2 nighter based on weather. If you're in San Francisco, you can get here in 1 long day. If you're out of Seattle, 1 overnight stop ought to do it. You're from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, you can do it in 1 night. But why would you drive through Vegas and not stop a night or 2 in Vegas on the way? I mean, that doesn't make no sense. So there's one way to get here. You can drive here. Okay. The other alternative is you fly here. And that's what Jen and I do from Calgary, 3 hours by air. And you've just added 70 degrees to your life, Fahrenheit degrees to your life. I think and you've added 2 hours of additional daylight, and it's morning daylight versus evening daylight. Anyway, once you get here, of course, you're going to need to rent a car because to get around this area, it is so wide open, you're going to need to drive. But then again, you can spoil yourself and drive a vehicle that you might not normally drive at home, which is what I'm doing with the Tesla, no question about it. Now, if you're cruising, obviously, if you live near a cruise port, you can drive to a cruise port. If you don't live near a cruise port, then you fly to a cruise port. And then depending on which city you're departing from, you might make a bit of a trip out of it. If you're leaving from New York on a European cruise like we did last summer, you spend some time in New York either way. if you can. But if you're coming out of Miami or out of Los Angeles for a cruise in the wintertime, certainly you can spend some time in Florida for a few days before your cruise, if that's what you're into, or after your cruise. And the same with Los Angeles, with, of course, Disneyland and Universal Studios and Hollywood and Vine and all that sort of stuff. So what I did was I found a cruise today, just looking at different cruises. I found one here. Let me show you what I came up with here. I found a cruise on Holland America on the Staten Dam. This cruise right here on this ship. This is one of many identical ships that Holland America has. The Oosterdam looks like this one. The New Amsterdam looks like this. Great vessels, and you know your cabins. Here's a balcony cabin, typical 5.5 star. Product from Holland America. Here's a pool deck on the Staten Dam, and this one has the retractable roof, so the pool is always working, whether it's raining or cold or not. Of course, here's the spa area. You can enjoy that. So. We all know how cruise ships work. This particular cruise I found for this cruise ship, I found a cruise leaving Fort Lauderdale on January the 11th and coming back to Fort Lauderdale January the 25th. And if you take a look at the itinerary, you'll notice that the ship leaves Fort Lauderdale, goes to Half Moon Cay, has a sea day, goes to Falmouth, Jamaica, the Grand Cayman, Cozumel, another sea day, back to Fort Lauderdale. Well, this particular cruise, it's a back-to-back. So you stay on the ship and go to Half Moon Cay, then Amber Cove, Grand Turk, Nassau, and back to Fort Lauderdale. 2 different itineraries, pretty well in a 14-day window. Price for this 14-day adventure is balcony over here on this side over here, $2,349 a person for the 2-week trip. So to compare what Jen and I are doing here, you'd have to do 2 14-nighters. So you'd have to take another 14-day cruise. And if it's the same price, roughly, you're now looking at $4,700 a person for 4 weeks, which is $9,400, $9,500 for a couple for 1 month. And then, of course, your drinks are extra. Your tipping is extra. Spa passes are extra. Anything you spend on tours, of course, are extra. But for basic accommodation, for the meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the regular restaurants, you're at $2,300 a person for 2 weeks times 2, $4,700 per person times 2 for a month. You're at $9,400 approximate dollars to do a holiday on this ship for 28 days. Now, you're going to have room steward service, of course, and you're not going to do necessarily any laundry, you hope, if your underwear lasts long enough. Now, if you're coming down here, okay, well, this is a different kettle of fish. Of course, you can fly here to Palm Springs International, and, whatever your airfare is to fly down here is the same as where your airfare is going to be to fly to LA or to fly to Miami. That we can't compare, so we have to leave that alone. Of course, if you drive here, that's another matter. But if you fly here and rent a car, you're going to have to add the cost of renting a car. And you're going to be in a wonderful area like this. This is very close to where we are here. This is a couple of condos away from us. And you're talking now not a cabin. Obviously, you're talking about a full-blown turnkey condominium, 2 or 3 bedrooms in size, and you're going to have a full kitchen. You're going to have fully furnished, suites with bedrooms. You're going to have bathrooms. I mean, you're talking full-blown deal with a garage for your vehicle and a patio outside. As opposed to a balcony on a ship, you have a balcony outside. Now, the vacation is a different vacation. We know that. A cruise is a cruise. A 1-month stay in a condo like this is another experience entirely. This is the area that you would be in. This is an aerial shot, probably from a drone, of the region and neighborhood that we're hanging out in right now, Jen and I. As a matter of fact, I am convinced that at the very bottom of this photo, there's a green right there. That is the green in front of our unit over here. So we're just off to the side there. So that is the view from our driveway behind us, looking out over the hills there, the rest of the communities. Many of these communities are gated. They're very secure, very quiet, incredibly clean, well maintained, of course, because the golf courses are kept in perfect condition. And so you just have to tolerate the weather down here. You're not going on a cruise, obviously. It's sunset, it's gorgeous. It can be utterly stunning to look out over this area here. This is, again, the San Jacinto Mountain on the left and the Big Bear Mountain on the right. And it is absolutely stunning. Here's another image of the area that we're in here, just from another angle. And of course, if you rent a car, you can always rent a Model Y Tesla like this and enjoy yourself for a month driving a car that you might not normally drive at home, and go for spins around here. Drive for a day visit to San Diego if you like, or go in for a day visit to, say, Riverside, or go to Los Angeles. Depending on the time of year that you're here, of course, you can go to Los Angeles and catch the Los Angeles Kings play a hockey game if you want to do that, or if it's baseball season, late fall, you can drive to LA and watch a ball game. It's up to you. But if you're here and you're relaxing and you're enjoying the pools and the hot tubs, and you're going to enjoy the general, let's say, vicinity. The swimming pools here are very much like the swimming pool you see right here in the middle of the green there, in that green area. That's typically what we have around here. This is the neighboring community called Monterey Country Club, where Jen and I have stayed for a number of years, with a jacuzzi there and the pool and the loungers, and it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. So let's talk dollars. How much does this cost? What are we paying to be here versus being on a cruise ship? So the cruise ship, as I said, is $9,400 for the basic fare, plus you're going to pay, I think, $32 a day in tips, because it's $16 each. So for 28 days times $32, that's another 900 and something bucks in tip money. If you want internet, you're going to pay, $20 to $25 a day for all 28 days. That's going to run you, that's going to run you $700, $750. You want to drink beer and wine and have a libation and some fancy coffees, you're going to pay extra. Inside your room, however, you do have a coffee machine. You can, of course, make your own tea and, not have to buy specialty coffees all the time on board. Obviously, coffee is free in the buffet every day, and you can always waltz into the buffet with your, you can walk in there with your big jug, water jug, and fill up your water jug anytime you want and enjoy that. Come back to your cabin, go to your balcony, and enjoy the view. Here, obviously, you've got your full kitchen, so you're going to go to Costco. You're going to go to your Albertson store. You're going to go to your Trader Joe's retailer, and you're going to pick up things to eat here in the house. And if you choose to go out for dinner, you choose the budget from McDonald's to In-N-Out Burger to Morton's Steakhouse to whatever you want, Outback Steakhouse, and enjoy yourself. But most of the meals you're going to have are likely going to be right in your condo at your leisure when you want, and go from there. The other advantage about this condo, of course, is you can have people come and visit you. And if you put them up for free, great. If it's, you're coming down here for a month and you're coming with another couple, you can always split the cost, because you got 3 bedrooms, you got plenty of room, but it's up to you what you want to do. So to be here in a condo like this, this type of a condo, you're looking at rent in the high season, which we're in right now, of about 5,000 a month, maybe 5,500 a month. You can pay more. I mean, you can get more and pay more. You can easily get to 6,000 a month for one of these units. But let's look at it this way: if you're paying 6,000 a month in rent, that means you're getting internet. You're not paying tips. Your power is included. All the amenities are included, including the use of the swimming pools, all included. So there are no extra fees on top of that charge. The only extra fee you're going to run into is if you need a vehicle. And in our case, we're now going to pay about, well, for the Model X we're going to pay about $1,200 a month for the Model X. And that would be similar to an Avis car, a Hertz automobile. You want to rent a Chevy Malibu for a month, you're looking at $1,200 to $1,400 a month for a Chevy Malibu. I decide to go through Turo and privately rent a Tesla instead and pay just as much that I would pay for a Malibu. I don't need to buy gas, however, so I'm saving a little bit of money there. So if you want to add the cost of a condo, at say $5,500 and a car for $1,200, you're talking $6,700 in a month, and then you got to pay for your groceries. And again, that depends on how fancy do you want. You eat caviar, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you got to pay more. But if you're a Costco shopper, it's your budget at home. It's your budget at home. If you're a grocery store shopper, whatever you buy at groceries at home, you're going to buy here for a month. Is going to be no more expensive than that. Of course, you're going out to a couple of restaurants, you better add to that. The bottom line, it's cheaper being here than being on a cruise ship for a month. Now, can you be on a cruise ship for less than the price I've quoted you? Looking at this quote right here, check this out. This balcony right over here, okay, $2,349. That's a 2-week cruise. So divide that in two. That is for 1 week, about just under $1,200. That includes taxes and fees, but not all the other charges. Yeah, you can find from time to time a cruise for $100 or $200 less, but you might not be on a Holland America. You might be on a Carnival cruise. You might be on a Costa cruise in Europe, depending on where geographically you're looking. But yes, you can pay less, but not a lot less for a cruise of this caliber. A 5.5 star cruise line like Holland America for $23.49 for 2 weeks actually is a very good deal for a balcony. That's not bad. It is $4,700 a couple. I'm not saying this is a cheap holiday, but you do get to see these sites. You don't need a car. You don't have to buy much food. That's kind of included unless you're going into specialty restaurants, which you all know is extra. Bar charges are extra. Specialty coffees are extra. Even cola is extra unless you can bring it on board. But a cruise is one unique holiday unto itself, as opposed to hanging out in a place like this. But this is unique in its own way. For Jen and I to be here for 5 months, it's an absolute pleasure for us. It's an absolute delight to be here. We're sleeping in a king-size bed with walk-in shower, two-car garage, easy peasy. We've got high-speed internet that allows me to spend time with you here. It's all good. It's all very doable for us for 5 months. We get to relax and call this our second house and enjoy the warming up of the temperatures, because of course right now it's January. This is the dead of winter. We should be 60 for the highs, so it's windbreaker time outside if it's a bit windy. Whereas with a cruise, you can go wherever you want on a cruise, whether it's to the Caribbean or whether it's to Hawaii, or whether you want to fly to Europe and take a cruise there. Obviously, in the summer, you've got Alaska, you've got right now you've got Australia for the winter, which is their summer. So obviously, if you're willing to pay the airfare to go to where a cruise ship is waiting for you, you knock yourself out. But if you want to compare apples to apples, if you wanted to take a cruise out of Los Angeles down to Mexico and back for a week, and do 4 of those for 28 days, I think you're going to pay more money. Even if it's $1,000 a person per week, that's 4,000 in 4 weeks each. That's 8,000 plus tips, plus drinks, plus specialty meals. You're going to be paying close to $8,000 to $10,000 at that time. Here, yeah, it's still not cheap, but it is well under $8,000 a month to be here. And now the question is, what do you prefer? And do you want a little of everything? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a couple of weeks of cruising and then a couple of months of hanging out here. If you can afford it, knock yourself out. If you've got the time, and that's the key for people working, can you take a month and rent a condo for a month? If you could only be here for a week, like a 1-week cruise or a 1-week holiday here, you're not going to do it in a condominium like this, although some verbos will let you rent a condo for a week. But I'm going to guess you're paying $2,000, which is equivalent of $8,000 a month. However, you can also do a hotel. And down here, you can be in an Embassy Suites. You can be in a Holiday Inn Express. You can be in a Holiday Inn. You can be in a Marriott. You can be in a Four Seasons. You can be in a Ritz-Carlton. What's your budget? If your budget is $150 a night or more, you'll be able to find a hotel. But the 200 to 300 neighborhood is what you're going to end up with for a hotel. But that gives you a hotel room with twin beds or a king bed. Parking is free. You're going to need a car. And then you're going to eat out. Maybe breakfast is included with a buffet kind of breakfast every morning. But after that, you're eating out. For a 1-week stay, hey, there's nothing wrong with coming to this neighborhood for a 1-week stay in a Courtyard Inn or Embassy Suites with their wonderful buffet breakfast. They have pools, they have jacuzzis, they've got loungers, no problem. And you can go to a local grocery store and pick up provisions to take to your room, snacks and beer and wine and whatever. Of course, here, Jen and I have the luxury of shopping for a 5-month stay. So when we pop up to Costco and Jennifer wants to get some wine and some rum and some vodka and she's going to buy the big giant Costco bottles at $16 to $18 a shot. And those are going to last quite some time. So very economical as opposed to $10 a drink or $12 a drink on a cruise. As many of you know, the per drink price with tipping can be $15 a drink, depending on what we're talking about. Maybe a glass of wine is $8 plus 20%. Where here, you can buy a bottle of wine for $8 and enjoy it over 2 or 3 days. Again, depending on how much you like to drink. So there's one comparison versus the other. It's totally your call. It's totally your thoughts. It's your comfort zone and what you what you like to do and not do. It's the way it is. There are people here who come here year after year after year after year. They buy a condo here and they come down here every winter. They don't let anyone else use it. It's all for themselves, maybe 6 months of the year. Others who come here rent for 2 or 3 months every year and then head back off somewhere else. It's your style, it's your game plan, whatever you like. Of course, for Jen and I, this year's been eventful because we were on the Queen Mary 2. We were in London for 2 weeks. We were in Zermatt, Switzerland for over 2 weeks. And then we're here now for 5 months. So we're getting the California life. We got the other life. And now the question will be, going forward in a few months from now, we have to decide, is there another trip for us this year? And well, will it be the Australia trip? Is that the one we're going to do next, where we might work our way to Australia next fall and winter rather than be here for the full winter? We'll have to decide that. Of course, the last 2 winters have been very handy for us because Jen got a new hip in 2022 and a new hip in 2022 and in 2023, and here we are enjoying life with her having 2 brand new hips. She's pain free, and we're grateful, very, very grateful for all of that. Anyway, there you go. There's some thoughts on comparing one to the other. Yeah, Robert, you know what? We had a coating of snow in Connecticut today. Sharon's got to run. Thank you for joining me. To see you next week. Aurora, it looks like amazing where you are, Uncle Bruce and Auntie Jen. It is an amazing place. It's full of all kinds of history, recent history, let's say, certainly from the early 1900s and definitely since the Second World War. The history of this area here is profound, and many celebrities have lived here. Many very well-to-do, successful entrepreneurs have been here. Lee Iacocca, the former CEO of Chrysler Corporation, the guy who designed the Ford Mustang, he was here for decades. Steve Jobs, I believe, had a place here. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know that Bill Gates definitely has a place here, has been here from time to time. Most of Silicon Valley, a lot of the high-enders have places here, including Ellison, Mr. Ellison. He has an exclusive property here with his own golf course. There's a property only about a mile from here that is known as the Annenberg Estate. That was known as, they called it Sunnylands. And they built themselves an 18-hole golf course on a huge square of land. And in the middle of the golf course, they put their house, which was about a 20,000 square foot house with guest houses. The Annenbergs, if you don't know who they are, the gentleman, Mr. Annenberg, was the owner of the TV Guide magazine during its heyday, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. The Annenbergs owned TV Guide, and that magazine was apparently making them a profit of $1 million a week in the 60s. So that's like $50 million a year in profit. In 1960 dollars, that would be today $5 million a week, $250 million a year. He also owned a magazine called 17 magazine, a teenage teen magazine. He also owned the Philadelphia, was it the Chronicle? It was the newspaper in Philly. It might be the Inquirer or the Chronicle. A huge newspaper in Philadelphia. He was a publisher. He was a very successful book and magazine and newspaper publisher. And the Annenberg Estate is just about a mile away, and it has been home. It has welcomed guests to stay overnight over the years, from as early as President Eisenhower, President Kennedy was here. President, I don't know if Johnson ever spent any time here, but Nixon definitely was here. President Nixon was definitely here. Gerald Ford lived here in the desert until he died. He lived here for his last 30 years of his life. Don't know about Jimmy Carter, if Jimmy Carter ever came out here. He wasn't a golfer. After Carter, we had George Bush Sr. I believe he was out here. Then we had Clinton, who was definitely out here a couple of times. And then George Bush, the son, he was here at the Annenberg Estate. Then Obama definitely used the Annenberg Estate for a summit between China and the United States. The president of China came in, Obama came in, and they spent several days here at the Annenberg Estate to discuss trade relations and what have you in the early 2000s, interestingly enough, or 2010 range. I don't know about Mr. Trump. I don't believe he's been out here, and the Annenberg Estate is not used now for official events because the Annenbergs passed away in the early, around 2005, 2010. And the Annenberg Estate was then donated to, I believe, the state of California. It is now a park. And the archives inside the Annenberg Estate are vast and extensive and have all been donated to the people of California. And so there are volunteers and, well, employees actually, who are handling it. And there are tours available of the Annenberg Estate by appointment only. Small groups are allowed in. And so there's a lot on Google you can look up on the Annenberg estate. It's a fascinating thing. I mentioned earlier, President Ford retired here. He lived his last almost 30 years of his life here with Betty Ford. Dwight D. Eisenhower, Ike, he retired here in Indian Wells and in India for his last about 20 years of his life. Avid golfer, big time. Obama spent a lot of time here on holidays, so did Clinton. Let's say it's a favorite among celebrities. Frank Sinatra, of course, lived here for a good 35, 40 years. Sammy Davis Jr. hung out here. Dean Martin had a house here. Joey Bishop, the Rat Pack, they were all here at various locations. Palm Springs was originally a Hollywood getaway place. Just something you might not know, but back in the day, in the 20s and the 30s, the 40s, up to the 50s, even the 60s, many Hollywood actors and actresses were under contract with their movie studios. So you'd have Universal Pictures, Fox, Paramount. All of these studios had their stars under contract. And the photographers for all the newspapers and magazines they made a deal with the studios. And it worked out like this. The studios would offer the stars, their Hollywood stars, photo ops all the time for the Oscars and the Golden Globes and movie premieres and so on. But 90 miles out of Los Angeles, outside of 90 miles of downtown LA or Hollywood, photographers had agreed they would not take salacious photos of Hollywood stars. The only photos they would take out of 90 miles out is if they had permission to do so. And interestingly enough, Palm Springs is just a little over 90 miles away from Los Angeles. And so the stars would come out here on weekends and between movie shoots, and especially in the wintertime, to get away from the pressure of Hollywood and come out here to this ranch-filled, resort-filled valley of Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage, and so on. And they would come out here to golf, swim, play tennis, spend time with their families. But other Hollywood people would come out here to spend time with special friends that may or may not be their husbands and wives. And Hollywood executives would come out here and relax in a certain kind of way and enjoy themselves without the press being all over the place. Because if a photographer came out here in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and took unauthorized photographs of anything happening here and published it, the entire organization would be banned from the Hollywood studios, all of them. Even though you might catch a Paramount movie star doing something untoward, the Warner Brothers and all the other studios would ban your publication from their property at the same time. That's how powerful these guys were. And so the press and the Hollywood studios had an understanding, a mutual agreement, that certain turf 90 miles out of LA is a free zone. Interesting facts that come up over the years. There were many charitable events done here for good causes. Hollywood celebrities and business people did a lot of charitable events here. Those were allowed to be covered because the stars and actors and actresses would all be on their best behavior, well dressed and going out to a gala evening, and the photos were everywhere. That was all fine, but the salacious stuff was not allowed in those days, because photographers knew who buttered their bread all year round. It was the studios, 12 months of the year, all of them, with all the movies and all the television and everything else. Anyway, there you go. A little info for you that you might not be aware of. Love to catch up with you, Bruce. If you get down here to Australia, Mark, that would be a wonderful thing if we can make it. We'd look forward to seeing you. We'll see what we can do. Yes, if you remember Art Linkletter, you ever remember that gentleman? He used to say, used to have a TV show, Kids Say the Darndest Things. He had property out here. Groucho Marx and Harpo Marx, they had property out here. Oh, yes, there's the General Patton Museum just east of us here. Patton had a house out here too, yes. There were many, many moguls out here. The Firestones, the tire company, the Firestones were out here with a very nice property. It's still owned by, I believe, the Firestone family. All kinds of Hollywood movie stars and television stars were here, and all kinds of entrepreneurs have been here over the decades. Today, this region hosts about 450,000 people during the winter and about 250 to 280,000 in the summertime. With air conditioning, you can stay here year-round, but it does get hot in the summer, no question about that. Beautiful place. Jen and I just love how calm it is, how clean it is, how picturesque it really is, and we do enjoy the California style. Sunrise and sunsets are gorgeous, and we do enjoy them very, very much. So there you are. There's a little comparison between a cruise and a holiday here. For some of you, it's cruising only. That's the only thing I want to do, man. I just want to be on a ship and I'm out of here. I totally get it. This is an area that you can visit here in the summertime for cheap. I'll tell you that. This kind of a condo that we're in, a 3-bedroom condo, you can rent a condo like this in the summertime for under $2,000 a month. It's air conditioned. It has air. It has Wi-Fi. You'll have a vehicle, but it'll be warm. You may find that you're in the pool late in the day or in the early evening. You might golf first thing in the morning, not in the height of the day. But you get used to it. It's a dry heat. It's quite nice. But yes, there are seasons here. Summer season, it's very cheap to be here for accommodation. The hotels might not be so good. The hotels, they don't drop their prices very much in the summertime. But the private condos that are for rent, you can rent them through these golf course associations. You can go online and look up Vrbo. You can look up Airbnb, and you'll find deals on condos for late summer or late spring to mid-fall for sure. But then in the height of the winter, like right now, it's kind of full around here. Although I will say I'd say about 50% of the condos are being used right now because Christmas and New Year's is over. And we're now into the first week of January. It's the coolest time of year. But starting February, it picks up big time around here. Thank you all for being here with me today. I do appreciate you all. Robert, thank you. Donnell, I think I'm number 16 tonight. Love the show. Counter is acting up again, almost 1 a.m. in Cork, Ireland. Happy 2025 to all of you. Paul, thanks again, Bruce. I wish there were more cruise news, but thanks for sharing all your information out there. God bless, brother. Thank you. And Robert, sorry, Uncle Bruce, falling asleep. I'll see you tomorrow morning. No problem, my friends. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Get some rest. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the new year. Congratulations on the new year. We'll see you here next week, and we'll talk about some travel news and stuff and kind of keep you posted on what's going on. All the best to you. Thank you for the thumbs ups today. Thank you also for those of you who took the time to answer the poll question today. I appreciate that. Poll question now with 24 votes. Look at that. 29% of you have said that your favorite cruise was a Caribbean cruise. 12% of you say Alaska. 46%, the best cruise you've ever been on, favorite cruise, Mediterranean. I can understand why. And 12% have said Hawaii or Asia cruising has been my favorite kind of cruise. There you go. Thank you all for participating in that and hitting the thumbs up button for us and watching my show tonight. All the best to all of you. Thumbs ups if you're watching on the rerun. Have a great week. We'll see you next week here from Palm Desert, California. Take care. Bye now, and bye for now.